Hi, and welcome to Absolute Music video channel again. We're working on a new song today for the tuition side of things. It's from Fast and Furious 7, and it's a song called See You Again. I had a lot of requests for this with the students I teach who want to do an acoustic version of it. It's originally on piano, and there's a rap section in the middle with some synth. So what I've done is I've put some guitar chords together for you today so you can have a play with this one. For this, we're going to need a capo. This is going to allow you to move the end of the guitar forward so you can make the notes higher to match up with what happens on the original song. You can play it without one, but the chords do get very, very tricky. So I'm going to recommend you grab a capo, or if you're in a bind, a pencil and a hairband if you've got one to hand. But a capo will do the job nice and easy, and you can clip it on the guitar. You can find them on our website, absolutemusic.co.uk, so you can order one of those up. Right, without further ado then, what we're going to do is we're going to take our capo and we're going to place it on the 3rd fret, so that's 3 frets up on the guitar. So we're going to take whatever style of capo you have, squeeze it open and place it on the 3rd fret along. You may find yours is a clip-on one that you need to open up and clip down, or it may fit on the reverse way. It's all good, they will do the same job. So once we've got a capo on our 3rd fret here, I'm going to take you through some chord shapes. Now these are going to be quite big chords, but once you get your fingers in place, you'll find a few of the fingers stay and some of them move. So this should, after a little bit of practice, feel relatively easy. I'll take you through the strumming pattern as well, because we've got a new pattern there. So we're going to take our 3rd finger and our 4th finger, so that's our little finger and our 3rd finger. They're going to work together, so they're going to play 3 frets away from the capo. So if you're counting from the capo, 1, 2, 3. This, in the actual number of frets of your guitar, is actually the 6th fret along if you're used to looking at the dots on the top. So that's going to be 3 frets from the capo, or fret number 6. So there on the 1st string, physically at the bottom of the guitar, that's the high E string, and then we're on the B string next to it, that's the 2nd string, both in the same fret. So you have to squeeze those guys together, really press down on the guitar. These fingers are going to stay there for the whole song, and as I say, what I've done, I've taken the piano part and I've edited a little bit to make it more applicable for guitar. So that's those two. We're then taking the 1st and 2nd finger. We're going to place these on the A string, that's 5 strings counting up from the bottom of the guitar, and then the 2nd finger sits underneath it, 4 strings up from the bottom of the guitar. So that's on the A string and the D string respectively. So once we've got this, we're going to really hold these notes down. We're going to strum through all the strings, because we can play all 6 strings with this chord. This is an E minor 7. Sounds very complicated. It does use all your fingers you've got here, but actually once you've got it there, all the other chords are going to reuse these 2 fingers here. So it's only 2 fingers we need to move throughout the entire song. So we've got these 2. E minor 7 is the chord shape. Actual pitch, dealing with this here, is going to be G minor 7. So that's from where you'd be listening to it if you were playing the piano part. We use the shape of E minor 7. So if you look up the shape of E minor 7, this is it. Put a capo on the 3rd fret, you've got the right chord. So, strumming pattern. We're going to take our pick and we're going to strum down all 6 strings. Next, we need to be able to move chord. So I'm going to show you the next chord while most of that chord's still ringing, because we've got all 6 strings. When I take these 2 fingers off, I've still got 4 of my 6 strings ringing. So it will do this. So the important thing is to keep those 2 fingers fixed at the bottom of the guitar. We're going to swing this 2nd finger round, and we're going to swing it round here, so it's going to lift up above your 1st finger now, and it's going to play 3 frets away from the capo, so that will be the 6th fret again. and this is a G chord. May have come across this one before. So this is all 6 strings as well. So we'll move from one to the other. Again, keeping these 2 fingers really stationary. You'll find you may want to take your first finger off and reposition it. You may find you can keep it there and just move your second finger around. It's up to you. You can either slide it along or take it off and reposition it. It's up to you. So we go from one chord to the other. Now in terms of the beats you're using here, you'll need to change after a beat. So we'll have 1, and then we've got an and beat, a 2, and an and beat. So 1 and 2 and. So 1 and 2 and. So that's 1 and 2 and. So we're moving on the and beat of the 2. 1 and 2 and. It's a tricky one to get. Listen to the song a few times round and you'll find it starts to fall into place. So that again. We're then going to move the chord from G to a chord called C add 9. This is just underneath your G chord, so your fingers physically fall down a string each. So you'll move both your first finger and your second finger to the chord underneath it. Again, keeping your third and fourth finger super glued almost to the strings on the first and second string here at the 3rd fret away from the capo. So they're not going to move for the whole song. So we go from our G chord here, we physically drop our fingers a string each to there, and that's going to give you those 2 notes. So that's the A string and the D string. They're in the same frets, so 2 away from the capo and 3 away from the capo. This is C add 9, sounds like this. Now with this chord, we're only going to play 5 strings. This is quite a tricky one to do as we've been playing 6 strings for the other 2 chords. This one we have to bring our pick down to only strum the 5. There is a sneaky trick you can use. If you position your second finger just right, you can mute this string. So we can hit it with the pick and we don't get a note, we just get a percussive thud. So we get this. So you don't actually hear that in with the chord. It's masked by the rest of the notes. So that's another option, or you try and get your pick to play 5 strings. Ideally, do both. That way you've got a safety net in case you don't quite hit the 5 strings. You've got that second finger covering that low string. So once we've done that, we're then going back to our G chord, which is just physically above it again. So we lift our fingers up a string each. And same timing. So we do the 1 and 2 and. So we're moving on the and beat. So that leaves us just with that last part of that chord. So we get, from the and, we get 3 and 4 and. So C add 9 to G, and the beats with that. So that's 1 and 2 and is our change. So we're on the and beat that we strum the next chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's a bit of a push on that chord. So it just gives you that slight change of sound. So putting those together, all 4 chords, E minor 7, swing your second finger around to the G, drop your fingers down for the C add 9, bring them back up again for the G, and then loop it from the beginning, swing your finger underneath again for the E minor 7. So from the top. As you're playing a guitar, not a piano, there's one other thing you can do if you're strumming this on an acoustic or an electric and you want to put a bit of a percussive beat in. You can use this part of your hand to stop the strings. So when you play it, you can put a beat in here. you almost like a drum rhythm as well, which sounds quite cool. It's not on the original, but it's a nice little afterthought if you want it. So putting that together, just playing it round a couple of times for you at the required pace. Just a few extra little beats in there that sound quite cool. And there we go, that's See You Again. That's from the new film Fast and Furious 7. And keep an eye on our channel, we'll be posting some new videos soon, and we'll catch up with you at a later date. Take care.